Morning, Rabbi.
Good morning. We left off where Paro had dreamt, and he had two dreams. Were they separate dreams? Were they one dream? And he had all his wise men, his soothsayers, his sorcerers. Nobody could satisfactorily interpret the dream for Paro. And then the Saramashkim, the wine steward, says he had a personal experience that this person, he has that ability. He comes, and Paro says, V'yom Paro Yosef, Chalom chalamti upose inoso. Posuk Tezvov Sheni. 15, Posuk 15. Vani shamatu alecho liftor lemor, tishmo chalom liftor oso. V'yan Yosef as Paro. Yosef responded to Paro, Lema bilodoi. It's unrelated to me. Elokim yana ishlom Paro. So we mentioned this yesterday. Yosef is not ascribing this ability to himself. Rather, Hashem, it's not me. It's not I have an ability. I'm just the conduit. Through me, God will bring peace to Paro. So over here, there's an interesting Seforno. What were the interpretations that his wise men had given? What they given was that he's going to have 7 daughters are going to be born to him, and he's going to bury 7 daughters. So the fat cows is the time of happiness, and the emaciated cows are the moments of grieving and sorrow. So he explains that every king had a name, had a personal name. The dynasty is called Paro. Paro was the dynasty. All Egyptian kings, they were called Paro, the pharaohs. That's the dynasty. When a king dreams, he doesn't dream of something relating to his personal nature. It's something which relates to his kingdom, the welfare of the people. And therefore, when Yosef answered, he says, Elokim yana eshlom Paro. God will respond and bring peace to Paro, to the dynasty. That's what it's about. It's not personal, and therefore Paro understood immediately that this interpretation may have relevance to him and may be correct. So he cites a Gemara. The Gemara says, we had a Gemara in Brachos that normally God has agents, we call Malochim. Angels are his agents. But the 3 things God personally announces to his heavenly retinue: plenty, that's God personally makes that announcement. Famine, when he brings a famine on the world, God makes that announcement himself. And Parnas Tov, and the one who will be the overseer, who will be a good overseer to direct existence. God makes that announcement himself. So what he was saying to Paro, what you have in this dream, which he hasn't yet shared with him, has relevance that this is God himself. Therefore, Elokim yana shlom Paro. God himself, this is not through an angel, but this is God himself. That's the relevance of this dream. Okay? And that's why he says shlom Paro. Paro, it's the dynasty. It's not something of a personal nature, but rather it relates either to the whole region or the whole world. And again, in Pasuk Chafei, he says, "V'yom Yosef al Paro chalom Paro echorhu." The dream of the Pharaoh is one. Again, it's Asher Elokim Oseh, Higid LeParo. What Elokim is doing, he's informing, he's telling Paro. And then he goes to interpret what the significance and the symbolism of the fat cows, the emaciated cows, and what follows. So over here, the Seforno points out what the cows represent. The cows coming out of the water, and then the sheaves of wheat, the healthy sheaves, the wind-blown sheaves. He says the animals, the cows, that's the plowing. The water, has to do with the sowing and the growing. the sheaves, that's the end result. It says, firstly, it represents that there's the cause and there's the result. When there's going to be plenty, the cows are healthy, and there's water, the end result will be you're going to have healthy sheaves. There's going to be abundance. But if the cows are emaciated, meaning they'll be totally ineffective. The plowing of the cow will be at a very minimal level, and the end result will be it's not going to produce very much. This is the Sefarno. So first we speak about the cow, which has to do with the plowing, the sowing, and then we have the end result. What's going to be the result of that plowing and sowing? Is it going to be something healthy, or is it going to be something which is emaciated? So the healthy cows represent the healthy-looking sheaves. And the emaciated cows, that represents the cows, the plowing is not going to have much value, and proof of the result will be it's going to be wind-blown. The sheaves are not going to have any value whatsoever. That's this part how he explains what the cows represent and what the sheaves represent. One is the cause, the other is the end result. What is it going to produce? One will produce something phenomenal, the other thing will produce nothing. Okay? That's the understanding. Now over here, he says to his courtiers, it says, Vayitev Adov be'eni faro be'eni avodov. This is Pasuk Lamed Zayin. When he heard the interpretation, it found favor in his eyes and the eyes of his avodov, his servants. These are his courtiers. V'yoma paro el avodov, hanimtzo kazeh ish asher ruach elokim bo. Have we ever come upon a person who has the spirit of Elokim within him? This is something one of a kind. It's something which is amazing. So over here, the Ramban points out, why did he have to even make this comment to his courtiers? If he felt Yosef is the man, he should have appointed him immediately. And then, because after he says, they said, V'yom ha'paro Yosef achor odiah Elokim oscho, es kol zos ein novel b'chochon kamocho. After God informed you that this is about to happen, there's no one as insightful and as wise as you. We'll discuss this in a moment. And therefore, Ateti al-Basi, you'll be the one to oversee my household, and so on and so forth. But why did he have to share this, his understanding and the value of Yosef with his avodov? Have we ever found a person who has the spirit of Elokim within him? That he's come up with the understanding, even the solution, how to deal with the whole issue? So over here, the Ramban points out, if you take a look at the Ramban, now, the Egyptians did not eat meat because the cow or the sheep was the deity. They worshipped it. The Canaanites, they ate meat. So therefore, the Egyptians saw the Canaanim as people who were abominable. They were like a contaminated, a lowly, uncivilized class. That's how they saw them. And now Paro all of a sudden wants to take this man who's seen in the most despised, despicable, detestable context, and he wants to point him that he should become the viceroy of Egypt. There's no way, unless they fully concur with him, it's not going to happen. As much as Paro appreciates his value, it's not going to happen. Therefore, he has to have a consensus from Avodah, from his inner circle, that they should agree with his evaluation. And that's what he says. There's no Egyptian could bring about what he could bring about. He's one of a kind. And only because of that, that's why they accepted it. They agreed that he should be the one to be the viceroy. That's the Ramban. He uses a term. Al-Kain lo rotza limnoso mishne b'lo shusam. He didn't want to appoint him to be the second in command, the viceroy, without their permission. They're not going to find another man like this, because he has the spirit of God, which none of them have. And once they concurred with him, and he had the consensus, only then did he say to Yosef, because everybody agreed on this, that he is the one. Therefore, he's the one to be the one. Now, it's interesting. We find that when Yosef was the viceroy for 9 years, his brothers come to Egypt for grain, and finally the whole back and forth, Yosef reveals himself to his brothers. Ani Yosef Orov Yichai. I'm Yosef, is my father still alive? His brothers are like overwhelmed, shocked, stunned, dumbfounded. And then Yosef cries. He dismisses all the Egyptians who were there and tells them to leave. And that's when he reveals himself. And he wails and cries. Word gets back to Paro that Yosef's family came. That Yosef is here. His family is here. And it's a Vayitev Be'eni Paro Be'eni Beso. Be'eni Avodov. Found favor in the eyes of Yosef, Paro, and his servants. That Yosef's family's here. What were they so excited about? So the way I explained it then was that originally, what was the question of Yosef? Yosef was a slave in Egypt, and according to protocols of Egypt, a slave is not qualified to be in a position of power, especially to be the viceroy. Paro appointed him. So what did Paro? How did he always? People always came. How do you have a right to appoint this person here? He doesn't qualify, and there was the envy. He says no. He comes from a princely family. He was kidnapped and he was only sold as a slave, but he's really royalty, and therefore he's qualified. And he could always, but it would always resurface. So when his family came, this was a confirmation of what he was saying all along. Therefore, it's v'yitav be'enei Paro be'enei avodov. When he heard that his family came, he was excited because this was a confirmation of what he was saying all along. He doesn't have to quell these claims any longer. That's the simple understanding over there. But over there, the Seforno says something phenomenal. And this is blatant anti-Semitism. Whenever the Jew, as good as the Jew is, the anti-Semite always believes that the Jew has a self-interest. It's not us, it's himself. And they're always distrusting the Jew. Why did it find favor in the eyes of Paro and his household? Because they said, now that his family's here, he's really going to give us his all. Until now, he didn't give us his all. But now that his family's here, now we know he'll be fully dedicated to us. Because his family's here. Could you imagine? If not for Yosef's dealing with the famine, plenty of the famines, the civilization would have perished. They would have gone. They would have starved to death. On top of that, all the wealth of the world came to Egypt. They were the wealthiest, the most powerful civilization. This is all due to Yosef. And they said, now we're excited because now that his family is here, he's finally give us his all. Until now, he fell short of giving us, but now it's guaranteed because now he has self-interest. You ever hear such a thing in your life? What do you want? He's giving you everything. Whatever you are, you exist because of him. You're the wealthiest, most powerful because of him. Something, but he still didn't give it all. Now that his family's here, now he's really going to give us it all. This is the blatant, latent anti-Semitism which exists within the Gentile, within the Egyptian. But with the Ramban, it's even better because he was a Canaanite. They saw him as a Canaanite. The Canaanites are normally despised because they eat flesh. They eat the flesh of the cow. They eat their deity. So therefore, anyway, there's always a negative way. They put them always in this despicable, detestable context. They have no choice. As a result of that, now Yosef's family series is, so there's always this suspicion, maybe who knows what. The man is so clever and so ingenious, we don't know what he's doing. But now that his family's here, guaranteed he will be fully invested in us. That's the way I understood it. Based on the Ramban, that's why over there, so it wasn't just anti-Semitism, he was a Canaanite. Therefore, initially he did not sit with them, they have no choice. Therefore, now the family's here, this will be a guarantee, he'll be fully dedicated to us.